Welcome to Lights Gone On, with David inviting you into a tribute space where remarkable lives are remembered with honor and warmth. This channel shines a light on iconic figures from film, music, sports, and culture, whose presence shaped generations. Through each story, we celebrate their impact, cherish their memory, and keep the spirit of their legacy glowing for years to come. Brad Arnold is widely recognized as the lead voice and co-founder of the rock band 3 Doors Down, formed in Mississippi in 1996. Born in 1978, he grew up with a passion for music that eventually shaped his path into one of the most influential post-grunge acts of his time. His emotional delivery and distinct vocal style helped define the band's identity from the very beginning. Rise in music and success. The band's breakout single Kryptonite quickly became a cultural anthem, introducing their sound to a global audience. With its mix of vulnerability and strength, the song resonated deeply with listeners and opened the door to international success. Over the years, 3 Doors Down built a strong catalogue of hits and earned a loyal fan base across the world. Artistry and personal character. Brad was often described as grounded and sincere, both on and off stage. His songwriting reflected themes of resilience, struggle, and human emotion, creating a personal connection with fans. He was also known for his strong sense of faith, humility, and dedication to family life. Legacy and impact. Today, Brad Arnold is remembered and honored for the lasting influence he has had on modern rock music. His work with 3 Doors Down continues to inspire listeners, with songs that remain meaningful across generations and stand as a testament to his artistic legacy. Former American football player Chris Payton-Jones has died at the age of 30, following a road incident in Florida. His family, friends, and former teams have expressed deep sorrow over his sudden passing, which came only months after he stepped away from professional football. Football career and journey. Chris's path in the sport began after he earned a degree in sociology from the University of Nebraska. He entered the NFL in 2018 as an undrafted free agent, and went on to spend time with several teams including the Detroit Lions, Arizona Cardinals, Minnesota Vikings, and Las Vegas Raiders. He also later played in the United Football League before retiring earlier this year. Life beyond the field, beyond football, Chris was focused on building a meaningful life after his playing career. Those who knew him described him as hardworking, driven, and consistently positive in the locker room and in daily life. He also cared deeply about mentoring and inspiring younger athletes, often encouraging them to stay focused on their goals. Tributes and remembrance. He is survived by his young son, Aidan, who was a central part of his life. Loved ones remember him not only for his athletic journey, but also for his dedication, kindness, and the lasting impact he had on those around him. Dolly Martinez was a former reality television participant who became known to viewers through her time on screen. She was often recognized for her candid personality and willingness to speak openly about her life experiences, which helped her connect with audiences in a genuine and relatable way. Personal struggles and openness. Throughout and after her time in the public eye, Dolly spoke honestly about various challenges she faced, including health concerns, family difficulties, and emotional well-being. She often reflected on her efforts to improve her life circumstances and move toward greater stability. People close to her described her as warm-hearted, humorous, and someone who could uplift others even during difficult moments. Final news and family statement. Her family confirmed that Dolly has passed away at the age of 30 and has asked for privacy as they grieve. At this time, no official cause of death has been shared publicly. They expressed a desire for space and respect, while they focus on remembering her life and the moments they shared with her. Legacy and Remembrance Dolly is remembered by many who followed her journey for her honesty and resilience. Her story resonated with viewers who appreciated her openness and growth over time. She leaves behind memories of sincerity, strength, and the personal connections she formed with those around her. Richard Dimitri was born in Yonkers, New York, where he developed an early interest in performance and storytelling. He later trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, building the discipline and stage technique that would define his work. His early career was rooted in theatre, with appearances in off-Broadway and Broadway productions such as Zorba and Lysistrata. These formative years helped him refine a grounded, expressive acting style that would carry through his later screen work. Screen career and comedy work. Dimitri gradually moved into television and film, where he became known for his sharp, comedic timing and ability to transform into a wide range of characters. Audiences recognized him from projects like When Things Were Rotten, where his humor and versatility stood out. He also appeared in cult favorites such as Johnny Dangerously and Let It Ride, bringing subtle energy to supporting roles that often elevated entire scenes without drawing attention away from the story. Legacy and later life beyond acting, Dimitri also contributed creatively behind the scenes as a writer, helping shape comedic projects that reflected his wit and understanding of timing. In his later years, he stepped away from the spotlight to focus on family and a quieter life. He is remembered as a humble, dedicated performer whose work continues to resonate with audiences who appreciated his understated but lasting presence. Will Smith's life has often been told as a rise, a fall, and a fractured attempt at repair, but that framing is too simple for what actually unfolded. He was not just an entertainer, he became a symbol of effortless charisma, a man who seemed to translate ambition into universal likability. For decades, he embodied the idea that success could remain clean, that fame could be joyful without consequence, and that a smile could function as both shield and truth. Yet behind that image was a quieter story shaped by pressure, identity, relationships, and the cost of constant performance. His journey from Philadelphia to global stardom was never just about talent. It was about survival, adaptation, and the gradual erosion of private boundaries under public expectation, culminating in a moment that forced the world to reconsider everything it thought it knew about him. West Philadelphia. Where identity begins, Willard Carroll Smith Jr. was born in West Philadelphia in 1968, a neighborhood defined less by hardship alone and more by the discipline required to navigate it. His upbringing was shaped by structure, expectation, and the constant need to read the emotional temperature of any room before speaking. His mother, Caroline, represented stability and education, while his father embodied authority and control, sometimes shifting into volatility that left a lasting psychological imprint. From an early age, Will learned that personality could be used as protection. Humor became his first defense, charm his second, and performance his most reliable tool. The streets around him reinforced this instinct, teaching him that confidence often mattered more than strength, and that being seen as unshakable was sometimes the only way to remain safe in environments where vulnerability invited risk. Family pressure and emotional blueprint. Inside the Smith household, discipline and expectation were constants. His father worked hard and provided structure, but his presence carried intensity that shaped Will's emotional awareness. Moments of conflict between his parents left impressions that were never fully spoken about, but deeply absorbed. These experiences created a dual perception of masculinity in his mind, one rooted in provision and responsibility, the other in fear and unpredictability. At the same time, his grandmother offered a contrasting influence, one grounded in faith, encouragement, and moral clarity. She recognized his charisma early and framed it as responsibility rather than entertainment. This blend of influences produced a young man who was outwardly confident but internally calculating, always aware of how he was being perceived, and increasingly dependent on external validation to define his sense of worth and direction. Music, Overbrook, and the first reinvention. At Overbrook High School, Will Smith did not excel through academics, but through presence. He had a natural ability to command attention without demanding it, using rhythm, humor, and timing in ways that felt instinctive. It was here that he met Jeffrey Towns, known as DJ Jazzy Jeff, a partnership that would become foundational to his first identity as an artist. Together, they created music that stood apart from the dominant tones of hip-hop at the time. Their sound was playful, accessible, and rooted in storytelling rather than aggression. This difference made them stand out, but it also positioned Will as someone who could translate culture rather than simply reflect it. Even in these early years, he was not just performing music, he was learning how to manage perception on a larger scale than the environment around him. Early fame, financial collapse, and reinvention success arrived quickly when DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince broke into mainstream recognition, eventually winning a Grammy and becoming one of the first widely celebrated acts in hip-hop. However, early fame brought financial instability rather than security. Without proper financial guidance, Will accumulated significant debt, including unpaid taxes that escalated into millions owed. The contrast between public success and private instability became his first major crisis. At just over 20 years old, he faced the collapse of the identity he had built. Around this time, an unexpected opportunity emerged in television. The concept for a sitcom based on a street-smart teenager entering an affluent environment mirrored his own contradictions. Accepting the role would not just save him financially, it would redefine him entirely. The Fresh Prince era and global transformation. The sitcom became a cultural phenomenon almost immediately, transforming Will Smith from a rising musician into a global television personality. The role of a fictionalized version of himself allowed him to merge authenticity with performance in a way audiences found deeply compelling. He became a symbol of upward mobility, humor, and relatability. However, this transformation also intensified the pressure to remain consistent with the image he projected. As his fame expanded into blockbuster films, he carefully curated a persona that felt universally acceptable, positive, disciplined, and emotionally controlled. This consistency became his brand, but it also required suppression of complexity. Behind the scenes, he was learning how to separate personal reality from public expectation, a skill that would later become both his greatest asset and his most significant vulnerability. Marriage, image, and controlled transparency. Will Smith's marriage to Jada Pinkett Smith became a central part of his public identity. Together, they projected strength, independence, and unconventional openness, often discussing their relationship dynamics in ways that challenged traditional expectations of celebrity marriage. However, the boundary between transparency and exposure gradually blurred. What was presented as emotional honesty sometimes functioned as public negotiation of private tension. Will, in particular, struggled with reconciling his internal expectations of commitment with the evolving structure of their relationship. Over time, he attempted to align himself with a more flexible emotional framework, but the effort created internal conflict. The image of stability that surrounded their partnership became increasingly difficult to maintain as both individuals navigated personal desires, public scrutiny, and the pressures of maintaining relevance in an environment that constantly demanded narrative clarity. Entanglement and emotional unraveling. The public revelation of Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship with August Alsina introduced a moment of cultural intensity that reshaped the perception of their marriage. The discussion that followed, later framed through a public conversation known as the Red Table Talk, exposed emotional fractures that had previously remained private. Will Smith's participation in that dialogue revealed a man attempting to process complex emotional territory in real time, under global observation. What emerged was not resolution, but ambiguity. Terms like entanglement became symbolic of broader confusion about boundaries, expectations, and emotional language within their relationship. For Will, the experience marked a shift in how he understood vulnerability. What was intended as openness became, in his own reflection, a moment of emotional exposure that left him feeling destabilized rather than relieved, altering the foundation of his long-held public persona. Oscar night and the weight of expectation. By the time Will Smith arrived at the Academy Awards for his role in King Richard, he was positioned at the peak of his critical recognition. The performance had been widely praised, and the narrative surrounding him suggested long overdue validation for decades of work. The evening carried the emotional weight of culmination. Surrounded by industry peers and accompanied by his family, he appeared to be stepping into a moment of complete professional affirmation. However, beneath the surface, years of accumulated personal strain, public scrutiny, and internal tension remained unresolved. The ceremony was not just an awards event, it was the convergence of multiple identities: actor, husband, public figure, and individual, each carrying expectations that were no longer fully aligned. The atmosphere of celebration masked a deeper fragility that would soon surface in an irreversible way. The slap and the collapse of control. When Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith during the ceremony, the moment initially appeared like typical award show humor. However, the reaction it triggered shifted the trajectory of the night entirely. Will Smith's decision to walk onto the stage and strike Rock was instantaneous and unfiltered, breaking the established boundary between public composure and private emotion. The room's silence reflected collective disbelief as the event transitioned from entertainment to unscripted conflict in seconds. His return to his seat, followed by visible emotional intensity during his acceptance speech, created a contradiction that defined the night, celebration and disruption existing simultaneously. The image of him holding the Oscar shortly after the incident became one of the most analyzed cultural moments in modern entertainment history, symbolizing the fragility beneath constructed personas. Aftermath, consequences, and isolation. The consequences of the incident unfolded rapidly. Professional relationships shifted, projects stalled, and institutional responses followed, including disciplinary measures and temporary exclusion from Academy events. Public opinion fractured between condemnation, empathy, and confusion. For Will Smith, the most significant change was not external punishment, but internal isolation. The structure of constant engagement that had defined his career dissolved, leaving him in a space where visibility was replaced by distance. Retreats and periods of solitude followed, during which he confronted the absence of the persona that had long defined him. The experience revealed how dependent his identity had become on external validation and constant activity, forcing a confrontation with the self that remained when performance was removed. 12. Conclusion: beyond performance and identity. In reflection, Will Smith's story is not simply about success or failure, nor is it contained within a single defining moment. It is about the long tension between image and identity, between who a person is privately and who they are required to be publicly. His life illustrates how sustained performance can become indistinguishable from selfhood, and how fragile that construction becomes when disrupted. The events that unfolded did not create his complexity. They revealed it. Ultimately, his journey continues to be one of recalibration, where meaning is not found in perfection or resolution, but in the ongoing attempt to reconcile visibility with authenticity. His story remains unfinished, not as a narrative of collapse, but as a reminder that even the most carefully constructed identities are still human beneath the surface.